What's going on, everybody? It is Wednesday, October 19th, 2022, and it's time for this week's 2 Minutes with Jeff. So, I kind of want to, I usually talk about the market, interest rates, Fed, stuff like that, things that are going on. I want to kind of pivot a little bit, talk about something a little different. The market is changing, obviously. If you're kind of paying attention to it, or you're in the market, or just kind of follow it, you'll know that the market is changing. It is completely shifted. The Fed has raised the interest rates to kind of combat inflation, and it's basically turned the real estate into a market, into a buyer's market. Buyers, this is no joke. This is the best time I've seen in the last 3 years to buy a house. The competition is low, meaning people are not fighting over houses. You don't have 30 offers. You don't have to give up your kidney to get an offer accepted. It's literally, that is gone. That's gone. Especially right now, because we're headed into, we're in October, we're headed into November, December. It's typically the slow months anyway of the market, but the multiple offer situation, the highest and best after, the house gets listed within 10 minutes, it's gone. Those days are gone. Those days are behind us. So buyers, it is a great time to buy a house. And I'm sure the first thing people are going to say is, oh yeah, but interest rates are so high. Yes, interest rates are so high compared to what we were spoiled. And I'm going to say spoiled because we literally were spoiled with interest rates the last 2 years being at 3%, 4%. I mean, the numbers were artificially kept low in order to, spur the real estate market. So at the same time, the rates now are being manipulated to get higher, to slow the market. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, the interest rates are 7%. I bought my first house in August 2007, and my interest rate was 7%. Okay, so it's not like these are unheard of numbers. We're right back where things were in 2007. But no, still a good time to buy. And you're going to say, well, the prices are still high. Yeah, the prices are still high. The overpriced listings are coming down. The overpriced listings are the ones that have been sitting on the market for 2-3 months. Those sellers need the reality check. Those sellers need to realize that the market that we were in February, March, April, market's gone. And if you've watched my videos, you read the newsletter, we all know that market's gone. That market's long gone. Sellers need to come to reality, to the market today. And unfortunately, a lot of them don't. And a lot of their agents are maybe not educating them on, what the proper listing price for these houses should be. So yes, there are a lot of overpriced listings out there, but you never know what a seller's motivation is. Maybe they have to sell. They're not going to go right out there on the MLS and type into the listing description, "We must sell, job relocation." Like they're not going to put that in there, but every seller has a story. Every seller is listing their house for some reason. Nobody just lists their house for fun, like going to the movies. Hey, what do you want to do tonight? I don't know. Let's just list our house for sale, see what happens. Nobody does that. There's always a reason. There's always a story behind somebody selling their house. And again, that's a motivation on the seller side. There's some sort of motivation behind there. We don't know what it is. Maybe we're not going to find out what it is if the other agent's good and doesn't tell us. But if listings are overpriced, they may be more inclined to accept a lower offer just because, maybe they have to move. Maybe they have a family member has a situation. Maybe they got money issues, something. Like, you don't know. So the days where you could kind of come in and submit a low offer where, I would probably, if you were a buyer back in February or March, and you're like, hey, let's come in under asking price, I'd be like, hey, you're not going to get this house. So, interest rates are high, prices are high. Okay, great. I just pulled some numbers right before I started this video. if you're worried about the values going down or not going up, let me give you a little snapshot. So just in Metro Detroit, this is not a national average. This is just in Metro Detroit. The last 5 years, the median sales price of houses went up 50%. 50%. From September 2017 to September 2022, 50% increase. Okay, that seems like a lot, right? 10 years. I went back 10 years. Now, the national average, let's think about this. The 30-year national average for housing appreciation, 30 years, is about 296%, almost 3 to 1. So if you were to buy a house, just statistically speaking, in the United States of America, 30 years ago for $100,000, 30 years from then, if it was 30 years ago, today it would be worth $300,000. Okay? In Metro Detroit, 10 years saw an appreciation of 293%. So that's almost the national average in 10 years versus 30 years. Okay? So why am I telling you all of this? Buyers, great time to buy. If you're a buyer, you should be jumping in headfirst in this market. Interest rates are higher, okay? In the 1980s, interest rates were crazy, okay? You know, they were like 13, 14, 15%. I don't think we're going to get there. Okay, interest rates are high right now. Well, guess what? That's not the end-all, be-all if you buy a house. Interest rates will come back down. They will. It's a cycle. Real estate is a cycle. It goes up and then it comes back down. It goes up and then it comes back down. Just like housing prices, just like everything. It's cyclical. Interest rates will come back down. When? I don't know. 2, 3, 5, 10 years. They'll come back down. But guess what? When they come back down, you can refinance to a lower interest rate and lower your payment. Okay, great. What else did we talk about? Housing prices. Yes, housing prices are still high. If the trend continues, you know, I gave you a 5-year snapshot and a 10-year snapshot, and we know the 30-year snapshot of the average of the country. Your value of your house is going to appreciate. Okay? It may go down slightly, with inflation and prices going down. As we see sellers lower their prices, and those houses sell, those are going to be comps in your neighborhood. So, you might buy right now. In the wintertime, you could get a couple lower comps in your neighborhood. But then in the springtime, when things are going to schedule to be picked up again, because, everybody's predicting the spring to be pretty busy, you're going to get higher. The sales are going to be higher again. So you're going to get higher comps. So you have a 5-year period where you could go up 50%. That's really aggressive. Okay, let's just say 20%. Let's say 10%. You're still gaining equity. You're paying your mortgage down. You've been paying your mortgage for 5 years. The value is going up. You're creating equity. You're creating wealth by paying that mortgage down. So if your value goes up 20%, you've also paid down the mortgage for 5 years. So maybe you bought the house for $2,000 and your mortgage, you put 20% down. Okay. So that's a loan balance of $160. You've been paying on it for 5 years. Maybe your loan balance now is like $140 something. Okay, well, you generated $10,000 to $15,000 in equity just by paying it down, and then you generated more equity by the value going up. Great, that's wonderful. That's what you want. Then you can refinance. You can refinance when the rates hit 5, 5.5, 4.5. Whatever they are, if they come down, if you're 7, 7.25 right now, if they drop down to 6, 5.5, perfect. You can refinance. It's not the end of the world getting a higher interest rate of what we've seen in the past because we were spoiled in the past. So you got less competition. You got sellers who are motivated, who are keeping their houses on the market, even though that the average days on market has literally been in the single digits. Now I'm seeing listings online for months not selling. Interest rates, yes, they're high. You can always refinance. And remember, it's a cycle. Where are we at in the cycle? We're either on the upswing or we're close to the top as far as interest rates go. So we're coming down to here and we're going to go through the top and then it's going to start to decline again and go to the bottom. So within the next couple of years, great, you refinance, you got a lower payment. And we talked about the appreciation, your mortgage pay down, and the value of your house going up. Great time to be a buyer. Absolutely great time to be a buyer. If you're a buyer, you should really be stepping on the gas pedal and getting out there right now, because nobody wants to buy in the wintertime because it's cold. They don't want to move in the winter. Fine. You know what? You got to do it one time. Hire some movers, get some friends. You just got to do it one time. Suck it up. It's so worth it. Sellers. Let's talk about sellers. Not a good time. Not a good time to sell right now for the exact reasons that I just gave you for buyers why it's a good time. If you don't need to sell, you need to wait. You need to wait till at least the springtime to call me to get your home sold or even consider selling. Now is not a good time to sell because we're basically in a buyer's market at this time. The sellers used to have all the power. You know, whatever the seller said went when these listings, you know, when things were crazy at the beginning of the year last year. Whatever the seller said goes. And they could say the most ridiculous things ever. Oh, you want to buy this house? Cool, no inspection. Oh, you don't agree to that? Well, we got 20 other buyers that want to buy this house that'll do no inspection. They literally said anything and the buyers had to do it. Gone. Those days are gone. Sellers, no power. So guess what? You list your house, you get 2 showings, you get 1 buyer and a lowball offer, you accept that offer, they come back in at an inspection, they want all this stuff done or changed. What are you going to do? You had 2 showings in 3 weeks and you barely found 1 buyer. What, you're going to tell them no? You're going to go back on the market and then what? You're back to square one? See if we can maybe drum up some showings? It's not a good time to be a seller right now. You don't want to sell if you don't have to. Now, I understand things happen, life happens. Sometimes people are going to have to sell. If that's the case, so be it. Just be prepared that we're in a buyer's market and we're not in a seller's market anymore. And, you know, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world for sellers. I think if you have your listing priced accordingly and it's, you're not stuck in the February, March, April mentality and your listing is priced accordingly, I think you'd be just fine. But a lot of sellers are just stuck in that time. It's like a time warp back in time. So yeah, if you don't have to sell, don't sell. Now is not the time to sell. If you are a buyer though, you need to get out there and buy a house because it's literally been the best time it's been in 3 years. I'm not just saying that. I brought the facts, I brought the numbers, I brought why you should buy. You know, it's just everything is in your favor right now. There's no better time to buy. So that's what I got this week. I know it's a little different than talking about interest rates and stuff like that, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, what all those kids say on YouTube, and we'll see you next time.